It's 7:40. Let's do this. Good evening, Hampton Roads. Good evening, Northeast North Carolina. My name is David Aldrich, Chief Meteorologist of WTKR News 3 Television, and you are watching First Warning Live, where we focus on all things weather. Sometimes I get hungry. You may too. That's why it's sponsored by Marco's Pizza, and they're generous enough to give away 22 pizzas on this live stream, which means your name might be called out. And if it's not your name, it might be your neighbor's name. One person tonight will get 12 pizzas. That's one large, one-topping pizza monthly for a year. So that means you get one in October. The certificate arrives in the mail before the end of the month, and then you get one for November and so on. But we're going to throw out individual pizzas too, which I like to do because it's fun when we can throw out some individual pizzas. And behind me, by the way, I finally loaded in some of my, there's Leif Erikson, so the Mariners Museum and Park. There it is. So I've got my Newport News, I've got Pocosin. This is the Virginia Living Museum and the Ferguson Center, where Yo-Yo Ma. We've got so much stuff going on. I got pictures. So if you're bored with what I'm saying, you might just be fixated on the cycling of these great photos I took last Sunday from Newport News. All right, let me get to the weather because that's what we're here for. And oh yes, I want to mention to you, dry air is around now. It's going to stay cool. We've got frost advisories for parts of our viewing area, and rain arrives next week. So let's just cut to the chase. Let's go to next week, and we'll come back to the frost. But first things first, some of you are like, when's it going to rain again? Well, because we have a new drought monitor out. But it's interesting to note, if we have a new low that's off the coast of Georgia, southern Georgia, it could emerge based on this particular model and set of algorithms. The European model seems to think this thing gets more intense over the warm water, whereas the GFS is no, not buying it. It's just plain rain. But either way, this could create heavy rain, and you can see why it looks so intense. That's around 2 in the morning Wednesday. So, I mean, based on today's data, I'll show you the evidence that it's going to get wet. And will we be dealing with more heavy rain next week? The answer is yes. I think that's pretty much a foregone conclusion. Whether the timing might be massaged or changed a bit, I do think the intensity of this low will be something we have to watch because it's not clear-cut down the road. Meanwhile, we look at Norfolk, we look at Kill Devil Hills, Williamsburg, and Virginia Beach. All's quiet. It's looking good, but oh no, what'd you do here? Oh, the National Weather Service. Blame them. It's their fault. Don't blame me if you're not a fan of the cold weather. I used to do these like winter weather outlooks all the time when I was in East Tennessee, and I keep getting poked. Are you going to do one? You going to do it? Well, because most people in Virginia Beach, they're focused on hurricane season, right? You're not focused on snow in Virginia Beach, are you? Crickets? No, because of course maybe you are, because maybe you had, I don't know, 10 or 12 inches of snow last February, so now maybe a winter weather outlook wouldn't be such a bad idea, and I might dabble on that and in that subject next week, so stay with me there. But I got to get back to this. Temperatures as low as 33 degrees possible? Come on, no way, no way. And what did I get a comment last week? I got a comment last week from Kim. Kim says, I'll take those temperatures. Thanks. I don't know if she wants 30s. Certainly I don't think she wants 33. But that's cold air, Kim. I know this was a comment that was posted, I guess, back on the 21st of October. So a couple of days ago. I didn't even do a stream last night. And some of you were like thrilled. Amen, my brother. Hey, Tony, I'm picking on you because he wrote this 5 hours ago. And I don't know what he was saying amen to. He might have been loving the fact that every day is a gift, or the fact that I had a 25th wedding anniversary on Tuesday. So I don't know. But either way, I'm all over the map today. Got to cover what's pressing, which is the cold air, which means if you have sensitive plants, tonight, good time to bring it in. In fact, it was probably equally as cold here this morning, which I'm going to show you coming up in a moment. But the temperature's as low as, doesn't mean it'll get that low, but it could. And it's worth noting, because I don't think we've even touched on that on this live stream. I know my Tennessee audience, because I was there for 15 years, they probably heard me say this before. But one of the nice things about the Weather Service is they're pretty standardized. So like usually at an airport temperature, it's measured about 5-6 feet off the ground. Whereas where do the strawberries live? Where's the pumpkin patches? They're down on the ground. So there might be a colder air mass down there where frost can form. And we'll look at that too with some of the numbers momentarily. But the frost advisory starts at 2 a.m. and runs till 9 a.m. on Friday. And do we check all the boxes? We certainly do for the first two, because tonight we got mainly clear skies and we got light winds. Humidity's not high, dew points are really low, and we're not even getting below freezing tonight. So it's really not a factor for Virginia Beach and Norfolk, but it might be an issue, should be an issue for Emporia and maybe Waverly, just to throw out, and Wakefield, for example. Now our surface map radar shows a very weak low here in western North Carolina. Most of the rain is way up here at the top of the screen in Pennsylvania. Not going to be an issue tonight, but it has allowed for some of these warnings to go, or these advisories rather, to grow into warnings. The purple would be a freeze warning, and the blue would be the frost advisory that we just mentioned. Just wanted to check in with you. If you've got a comment, this would be a great time to say hi to me. Plus, I want to remind you, as I come back on camera a second, I'm going to check in with you. This is a good time to sign up so that you can be the recipient of some free pizza next week, because we're going to give away 22 more pizzas next week. I'm pretty confident of that. 6 locations are participating in this contest, and we have a deal of the week. So let me get to this first. WTKR.com Marcos. That's where you go. It takes about 1 minute to 2 minutes to sign up, and you may win a certificate. It would be sent to you by U.S. Post Office, basically U.S. mail. Now, we have a deal of the week right now, so that even if you don't win, you could still get half off your pizza order or anything you find at Marcos.com using the promo code WTKR50. That's our call letters plus the 50. And yes, you get the whole pizza, not just half the pizza. You get the whole pizza. But the certificate that we're giving away looks like this. Hopefully, it'll be your name. I've got the names in my computer now, so I know which name goes there. But the recipient will get their name on the certificate, and they'll be able to check off October, November. It's like a punch card. You'll get a free pizza all the way through September of 2026, one topping, and that could save you a lot of money, especially in this economy. So it's probably a great idea to get your name in the pipeline, and it is randomly drawn. Pizzolis are great for lunch, like a calzone, the stromboli, the Magnifico is fantastic too, but you might find something else on the menu. Something else on the menu, like, I don't know, the white cheesy, the chicken fresco. Maybe it's the Philly. Maybe it's a pizza bowl. Maybe you're used to just getting cheesy bread or wings. You even have gluten-free cauliflower crust, which could be another option if that's more your thing. So all these options are still eligible for the 50% off, and they even have the thing called the Works, which I love too, but I'm a big fan of the Deluxe, but this is everything. Everything they can throw in a pizza, they call the Works, and you can get it for 50% off this week. So grab the deal of the week. All right, getting back to this weather second, I wanted to show you that there is a normal first frost time for certain cities based on history, and I have posted the specific towns and dates individually from Wakefield's National Weather Service office a couple of days ago. You can find it on my timeline. But in Hampton, Newport News, Suffolk, and Elizabeth City, typically it occurs between the 11th and 20th of November. And again, why be normal? Some are getting kind of cool, chilly now. And if you're in Chesapeake, if you're in Norfolk, maybe you work in Norfolk or live in Portsmouth and Virginia Beach, it's usually toward the Thanksgiving time frame, between the 21st and 30th. So I'm just looking at you, wanted to say hi. If you have a comment, I'm checking the posts, and just wanted to make sure that you have your voice heard. If you're on this call, let me know, and I'll do my best to put your comments on the screen. It looks like I've got a couple of comments. I got a note from Taj Brown. Thank you, Taj, for being here, my friend. And I'm going to underline his comment so he knows this is him. He says, happy Friday Eve, great evening. It is great. It is great, especially if you like it cool. When I said last night on the television side, I said some like it cool. I even made it my note on my Facebook page. But some people don't like it cool, right? There are those who are like, no, I don't like it cool. I like it really warm. Maybe you're a summer person and that's all you like. That's your favorite season of the year. Well, it's a hard, rude awakening that we're now rounding out the month of October, and it's still kind of chilly in many locations. So we're going to be transitioning into a new season. You might as well either embrace it or run from it, but at least we have not one, not two, but I think 3 great days ahead of us. And the difference tomorrow, Taj, is that we'll have less wind. Less wind tomorrow and less wind on Saturday. So generally 5 to 15, gusting to about 20 for your days tomorrow with lots of sun. All right, so we talked about frost. Let's talk about headlines, right? Sunny delight. It's a beautiful yet cool streak ahead. We've already highlighted inland Virginia, inland North Carolina have some frost concerns tonight and into 9 a.m. tomorrow, but it's that storm system from the west, really the southwest from Georgia, that could create some locally heavy rain and strong winds. Now, I know what some of you are thinking already. Well, how much rain are you talking about? Probably at least 1 to 3 inches. Could be more. Depends on if that low intensifies or if it leaves the coastline with an uneventful exit. I mean, sometimes these storms can intensify once they move over the Gulf Stream. So if something intensifies, the models will come into agreement. But right now, there's no agreement right now. I just know that I think a 1 to 3 inch expectation for rain next week is reasonable at this time and juncture. By the way, pizza winners, you probably know the drill. I will announce that at the top of the hour at 8 o'clock. Right now it is 7:49. 7:49 p.m. here on a Thursday night, the 23rd of October. Now, I mentioned wind. We're going to get less of it tomorrow. It was 17 on Saturday. So I think, even though it was 24 today, let's check this off, 34 yesterday, it was pretty breezy when I was out in Newport News for the Let's Talk event at Tradition Brewing Company. But it was 41 last Sunday, but it was 17 last Saturday. So I think that in all, if there's nothing better than to make for context, this is, of course, Norfolk International's numbers. But tomorrow's winds will barely struggle to reach 20 for a gust. I think we're probably in that pattern again Saturday too. So probably the least amount of wind you're going to experience for the week will come in tomorrow and Saturday. And when you have to pump gas, you really start to feel a bad hair day. Some people are sensitive to the cold, like the frost, and some people just don't like windy days, right? I could handle 5 to 15. When I was in Rochester, if it was 15 to 25, that was normal, right? A sustained wind, 15 to 25, that was actually not bad, because usually it's a lot higher when you had Lake Ontario just to the north. So it's all relative to really where you are. Peak wind gust today, I mentioned, was 24 in Norfolk. It was 26 in Virginia Beach, but less wind in Hatteras, only 16, and 18 in Kitty Hawk. So some of you might have thought it wasn't that bad in terms of winds today. But the gust of wind forecast shows, look, it's less than 10. It's not even double digits at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, in some cases by some of the modeling. Now, if I take this one step further from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., yeah, it's probably closer to 5 to 15, and it's generally coming out from I believe, for the northwest, generally tomorrow. Then we head into Saturday morning. Might be close to 10 to 15 and stays single numbers from inland Virginia and here. So the winds are not going to be that bad, relatively speaking, the next Friday and Saturday, the days that lie ahead of us. Now, if you're in the military and you have family in Texas, I thought we could show you the national scene. There's some rain back here in the Pacific Northwest near Washington State. Clearly, we've got the rain spinning over the Great Lakes, but there are some spots that are popping out with severe weather right now. And I believe they're under a yellow slight risk for level 2 for severe weather in Texas. But let me just zoom into there's 3 in a row here. And I believe, yeah, this is Andrews, this is Dawson, Gaines, Martin. Severe thunderstorm warning into effect until 7:15 Central Time. That's considerable damage. And it looks like Andrews, Gaines, and Andrews until about 7:30. So you've got some large hail in these cases. You've got some activity around Wichita Falls. Some of you might have interest in that location in the military, but Grandfield. This is Cotton County, Archer, Clay County. So you've got some strong winds, large hail, gusts probably closer to 60 or higher, with some considerable damage at parts of Oklahoma and Texas at this hour. Checking in with you because I know there might be some new comments. Amy is on here. Hi, Amy. I was going to say, now we have Kim Thompson-Jones, who is also on here. I get confused, but Amy Thompson, it's great to see you, and I'm glad you figured this out. See, it's a nice, beautiful picture of her in the sunglasses. She's smiling, so I'm going to assume that is Amy Thompson-Jones, but this is someone over here says, I'm Kim Thompson-Jones. So you see where I'm confused. Wait till I get to the pizza winners, because your name might be on this week's winners, and I'm always excited about a Thursday, because we like to give away, Marco's, our sponsor, likes to give away free pizza on a Thursday. All right, got some other notes here, and I see Happy Friday from Taj Brown, and Taj was mentioning hola to Kim. Now, if you look at the national satellite scene and really all across the Atlantic, this is, of course, far-reaching because it covers Melissa, which we will get to in a moment. We have a tropical storm, Melissa, that is over or just south of parts of Haiti and approaching Jamaica, and the heavy rains are going to really be tough for them down there. Tropical storm Melissa, this is an 8 o'clock update. One thing that jumps off the page for me is that there is a greater expectation that this is going to become a Category 4 storm by the weekend. Now, in the last 24 hours, it was holding steady at 50 with gusts around 65. It's actually decreased in the last 24 hours. And yet, the expectation is, give it a little bit more time, the water's really warm here and there may be less shear, so you're going to probably find a much more intense storm. So what does that look like specifically at 8 o'clock? Here's where they track it. The National Hurricane Center believes that this could become a Category 4 storm by Monday. No, and basically a hurricane as early as Tuesday. So you've got multiple opportunities here where this storm may very well just continue to fire up and cause issues where they could find 10 or 15 inches of rain or more. I mean, everything is relative. I mentioned on the air that this is like, I call it a stalled ball, because it's not that the Hurricane Center doesn't have a clue where it's going. They know where it's going. It's not moving. And so it's going to basically dance in place, and that's causing really concern for family or friends or visitors who might be headed down into the Caribbean, specifically Jamaica and possibly even Haiti. So these are the places that are going to have some serious cleanup over time. Most of the models, the long-range models, we call them spaghetti plots, take them out to sea, but that's like next week as we get closer to Halloween. We could still be watching Melissa spin across parts of the Atlantic by that point in time. Got a couple of notes. Amy Thompson was asking about Colleyville, Texas. I'm familiar with that. I believe that's not too far from Dallas, if I'm not mistaken. But Amy, it looks pretty quiet there. I thought the Dallas area, but I did kind of blow by that graphic pretty quickly, and I didn't read your comment till now, but I am glad that you're here, and I hope that you can win some pizza here in just a moment. It is now 7:55. I wanted to show you that European model, why I think this is kind of interesting to watch, because if I stop the clock here, as we head into about Monday or so, you're going to have a system that's forming off the coast of Georgia. Now, they possibly could interact, maybe be favorably or unfavorably for us. But this is one thing you got to watch as you move this forward in time. The moisture rolls up the coast, and then eventually so does, it moves out to sea, I should say, Melissa, which again, the storm that comes in from the west this week or next week will not necessarily, will actually work in our benefit to keep Melissa out away from us. And another look at this is the American model. This is the GFS, and I can kind of circle where I'm looking. So the intensity of this storm, while it might get much stronger in the days ahead, looks like it's going to try and curve back out toward Bermuda, and lesser effect for us, as we'll get some rain from this, but hopefully the moisture that's coming in from Tennessee next week will keep the guide or the guardrails and keep Melissa further and further from us. So Nestor is the next name on the list. Olga would follow, as we still have 38 more days left to the hurricane season. All right, it's almost time. Almost time for pizza, so let's do trivia, then we'll do pizza, and then we'll get back to the forecast. But I have a question. How many of you are watching live? And if you are, just leave me a comment. I got a trivia question. I want to give props to forecaster Derek Getter for putting this question together. We've been getting some advisement from the National Weather Service the last couple of days that we've had some fire danger concerns because of the gusty winds, the low relative humidity. So we've been on the advisement not to burn, be careful with cigarettes and all the rest. So be careful with matches, because we've had a very dry atmosphere. The question is, how many levels, and the key word there is levels, how many levels are in the National Fire Danger Rating System? Is it 3, A, B, is it 5, or is it C, 10? 3, 5, or 10. I'm calling all those who are watching to put in their voice. Let me know what you think it is, because I would like to give you the answer momentarily, as I hopefully put this back up on the screen here. I have the answer. And I have one answer here from Taj. Taj is on quick here. He says 10. So he's guessing C, and the last takers, I can see here if there's sometimes a slow delay. I can tell you the answer is not the letter B. It's B this time, Taj. Don't be discouraged. Number 5, actually class 1 is low fire danger. You remember, I'm trying to think of Smokey the Bear. Moderate fire danger, class 2, high fire danger, class 3, and then very high and extreme. So typically, the fire danger rating system typically has 5. So there you go. Now this is kind of shocking, especially when you look at how cold it was this morning. I'm looking at Franklin, I'm looking at Jackson. Let's include Emporia there too. I overstretched in my telestrator. But this is really where the pocket of the cold air, even Chesapeake, southern sections of Chesapeake near the airport, really got into the mid-30s this morning. So you might be scratching your head, well, there wasn't a frost advisory yesterday, but now you got one for tomorrow. And the answer is exactly. It's not an exact science. Meteorology is an applied science. Takes the pure science of chemistry and physics, tries to put it all together, but it's an imperfect product. So in this case, through the subjectivity of the Weather Service, there was not a frost advisory. Even though 36, typically taken about 6 feet off the ground, the pumpkins are down at your feet and at your ankles. So there could very well have been, might have been, at 35, pumpkin frost or frost on the pumpkins in Emporia this morning, and 36 degrees in Franklin, Suffolk could have very well had some frost on their pumpkins this morning, and they're likely to see it again tomorrow, because our low was 10 degrees warmer in Norfolk. Norfolk had a low of 46, occurred at 7:40 this morning. 7:40. Now we're going to go back to that chill in the morning. Normal high this time of year is 70. You can see that at the top of the screen here. And we hit 66 today. I was expecting 67, but that occurred at 4:59. 459. Now, if the case in the next few minutes, in fact, I could probably check because it's now what we call 0Z. Yeah, it was 66 today. So there has been no change there. Virginia Beach hit 67, which is what I was expecting, but it was 66 at Norfolk International, which again is about 4 degrees below normal. So if some of us like this cold air, some of us say, no, it's not my cup of tea. Now, if we look at this objectively, we got 2 good days. I would say 3. In fact, I can use what I like to call it my numbers game here. We got 1, 2, and 3. 3 good days, and then it goes because by Monday afternoon, that rain should have rolled up from North Carolina. So most of the rain Monday will come in the afternoon, but at least a 60% chance Tuesday and then lingering into Wednesday morning particularly. So if you're on the call, we'd love to say hi to you. It is now 8 o'clock. It is time for some pizza. So let's get to that pizza. I want to say again, special thanks to Marco's. Let me start with the winners of the individual pizzas, because you know I like to give away these pizzas. So we're going to do that first, and then the pizza for the year will be last, and I'll hopefully have this covered in like less than 3 minutes. So bear with me. The number one winner for, and again in no particular order, I'll slide this in here, is the one large topping, just a single pie. This is just a single pie, and you'll notice the certificates are in fact mailed. As I just moved my telestrator, let me underline certificate. It's going to be mailed. But the number one winner and number two winner in no particular order, drum roll please, Lisa Myers from Suffolk and Megan Zink from Chesapeake. Oh, we got someone from Suffolk. Might be a little bit of a drive, Lisa, but it's worth it. Pizza's really good. And if you get a strange letter in the mailbox that you're not sure about, don't throw it away, because in essence, you're throwing away free pizza. Don't do that. I think you'd be impressed once you try some Marco's, and maybe you're in this area, because again, I mentioned the only places you can get the free pizza are these 6 locations, 3 in Virginia Beach, 2 now in Chesapeake, and 1 in Norfolk. So we get back to number 3 and 4, Amanda Wiley. Congratulations, Amanda. You just won some pizza, and you live in Portsmouth. Great to see you on this winners list tonight. Erica Johnson from Virginia Beach. You got 3 locations, Erica. Congratulations to you. We'll keep moving. Number 5, I believe, is Carrie Linecki from Newport News. Congratulations, Carrie. Congratulations to Kyra Bogan, from Hampton. Great to have you as a winner for a large pizza from Marco's. Number 7, number 8, no particular order, Ruby Wright from Virginia Beach. Congratulations to you. You just won some free pizza. And you might say, I didn't even know I was playing. Well, maybe somebody put your name in there because we pulled it out with the sales team. They put it through the randomizer and it comes out and they give you the winners here. Penny Whitehurst from Norfolk. Congratulations, Penny. Thrilled to have you as a winner tonight. And the last one's for the single pizzas. Then we'll announce the pizza for the year winner. There's only one of those this week, but that's a big deal. Number 9, number 10 would include Karen Edsall from Virginia Beach, yay, and Terry Abraham from Norfolk. So Terry and Karen, congratulations to you both. I want to say congratulations to Lisa, Megan, Amanda, Erica, Carrie, Kyra, Ruby, Penny, Karen, and Terry. So everybody's won a free pizza. How cool is that? And you're like, that's a pretty cool way to end a Thursday. Now, I also want to get to the other one, which is the grand prize winner. Again, certificate will be mailed. And I would be remiss if I didn't at least put out what I like to call, let's see if I can get my numbers back here. I like to throw out first a little bit of confetti. All right, the free pizza for the year winner this week, actually someone in Chesapeake. It's Amanda Dole. Amanda Dole, you just won free pizza for a year. How cool is that? Now you're going to be getting, and maybe it's certainly on its way, you're going to be getting this certificate and your name's going to be up in the upper left-hand corner. I would put it maybe, put a magnet on, put it on the refrigerator. So every time you're thinking, you know what, it's time for some pizza night and a Dole household, you can actually dole out free pizza to the family. I think that's pretty cool. September is behind us, but you will get January through September of 2026. You will get an October opportunity, hopefully, to get that in before the calendar runs out. Maybe you want some pizza on Halloween because all the kids are going to be bringing home candy, and you'll get one maybe when you're tired of the kitchen at Thanksgiving time or the holidays. So you have opportunities to get free pizza at any point in time. So thank you so much for participating. And again, if you didn't win tonight, just remember, all you have to do, it's this easy. I mean, what's the difference between you and the people that just won is that they put their name in, WTKR.com/Marcos, and they had a little bit of luck. Their name was drawn, but they also participated, and it's really easy. Go to our webpage, WTKR.com/Marcos. I think you'll be impressed. And don't forget, even if you didn't win tonight, you get half off your pizza order. So everybody's getting either half off their pizza or 100% off their pizza. I think it's a pretty sweet deal if you really take that into consideration. So let's get back to the weather. I want to get back to your comments. I mentioned the chance of rain doesn't even reappear until later next week. It is now 8:04. Want to say hi to you. I got a note from Kim Thompson Jones saying congratulations to the winners. Taj is also celebrating. I love his image. This says it all, Taj. Anytime you can get excited about it, yay! That's how I feel like when I felt like I get half off my pizza just by using the promo code WTKR50. It's a miracle, right? Especially the way prices keep elevating itself, and will maybe everybody participate. Anyone within the sound of my voice, just go ahead and use that promo code. It's real easy to use, no doubt. But thank you all for playing along. We're back to the weather. I'm going to go on to the normal rainfall. 3.5 or 3.86 is typical for October. It is the second driest month, historically speaking. But look at this. Is this weird? I mean, you're looking at 50, 60, 64. Oh, we got a cool day tomorrow. And the sun will be coming up tomorrow at 7:21, so it's almost 7:30 before that sun is really bright. And we got less wind. We got gusts that struggle to get to 20, but you'll generally be about 5 to 15 for wind. I think that's a really great looking day. Light jacket, yes, maybe a sweater. You can maybe mix up the wardrobe, moms with the kids. You got opportunities, but boy, does it get cool fast. By 8 o'clock tomorrow night, we're back down to about 55 degrees. Wanted to show you this too. We hit 66 today. When I was live out there in Newport News at Tradition Brewing Company, we were talking about 72, was 3 degrees from the day before. It's been back and forth. It's like the stock market. It's been up and down, but in total, we've had 16 days below normal. 16 days. This, of course, comes on the heels of all last work week. The work week of last week, we're all in the 60s. And now we've got the next 7 days in the 60s. You just gave away your 7-day forecast. I did. But if you stick with me, I'll show it to you what it looks like graphically. But you can just go ahead and fill 60s in here right up until the day before Halloween, right? I mean, it's going to be cool. And we hit 66 here. Normal high is 70, but 87, the record high from 2007. We've had a series of trace. That's what the T is. I've been asked before, how do you measure a trace? The answer is you don't. The trace is kind of like when someone has dandruff. I've had like dandruff, little flakes. You can't measure it. Maybe you can, but I mean, it's so minute that you know it rained, but you can't put it in a rain gauge. You don't have a measurement of high confidence. So think of it that way. And when you look at the T, we've had a series of T's this month, and really not much more than that. Now the drought monitor, interestingly, here shows that it's been very, very dry across Edenton and parts of Chowan County, Perquimans County, Pasquotank. These are the areas that have real reason to be concerned about the dryness. Now, you come back to Norfolk, Ocean Lakes, Fort Story, Hickory, not real bad, but south of Hickory, they're under a level 1. And we're back to levels, are we? We have 5 levels: abnormal, moderate, severe, extreme, and exceptional, and they're color-coded. So keep in mind, most of what you're seeing here in terms of the coloring, it's a severe drought in Edenton. It's a severe drought in the entire Bertie County area, even southern sections of Hertford County, south of Ahoskie. So if you're looking for some places that need some rain, you could probably use a little bit in Dare County, probably a little bit more because it's moderate drought in Dare County, but it has been not an issue in maybe Virginia Beach or Norfolk, but it's certainly been in some of the surrounding areas. And where you see red, I'm looking up here in Maine, in Vermont, New Hampshire, it's extreme drought in West Virginia, mainly south of Elkins and east of Charleston. Even in East Tennessee, you had some good outlook monitors every Thursday the last couple of weeks, but now you're getting dry again in Farragut, in Hardin Valley, in West Knox County, over toward Loudoun County and Lenoir City. Even Athens now showing signs of moving into a moderate drought. But you move out to Texas, you move out to the out west into Idaho, there's some more multiplying of these red areas, which would signify, even in North Florida, South Georgia, this is usually a dry month of the year. Usually October is either the driest, like it is in Knoxville, or the second driest if you're looking at Norfolk in terms of the calendar year on averages. Now the dew points, super dry, right? I mean, it looks like winter. It's so dry. And you might say, yeah, I'm glad I have my lotion, I got my chapstick, I got everything on hand, but look at the very nice comfortable dew points. They're really, really low, and it's going to stay in the basement and then eventually come up in anticipation of the rain that we're getting Monday and Tuesday. So it is now 8:09. I got to keep moving, but I'd love to say hi to you if you've got some notes. I got Amy Thompson congratulating all the winners, which is really 11 winners in total. One person, we mentioned Amanda Dole from Chesapeake has won now a pizza for a year. So she's the grand winner this week, but we're going to have another grand winner next week too. And hopefully you might be on that list of winners. 46 is our current temperature, 8 o'clock in Suffolk. That's a huge difference. 12 degrees right now between Suffolk and Norfolk at 58. I mean, that's a big difference. Now, is it any wonder you get away from the ocean, the influence of the ocean, and away from water? Yeah, you're probably going to get pretty cold tonight in Franklin, in Wakefield, and in Emporia. Temperatures right now in Knoxville are pretty nice. I would assume you're at 63, but it's only 51 in Virginia Beach, and they're cooling rapidly in Pittsburgh at 46 degrees, and Beckley, West Virginia at 47. Temperature outlook, I mean, this is like a whoopsie-daisy, topsy-turvy situation from the Climate Prediction Center, because for a long time, how did I get that back in there? I wanted to go back in here. From a long time perspective, the cool air was out here a couple weeks ago. Now it's kind of shifted. It's like a teeter-totter. It's like a seesaw because everything runs in like a sine or cosine wave from trigonometry. Or if you prefer, just when you head out to the beach, it's like high tide and low tide. So you're going to get a huge ridge out west. It's going to warm up here. And the folks in Florida, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, you almost like 5 or 6 shades of blue here where you're actually going to get quite cold in Florida enough to wear a jacket, I'm sure, especially at night, or a sweater, because they probably wear sweaters when temperatures really aren't that cold to you and me. It's all relative. The future temperatures show the blue ooze oozing down from Canada in parts of the Great Lakes by the time we move into about Halloween. So it may not be that warm, but it looks pretty coolish, especially in Chicagoland. This is November 2nd. When you get blue up here at 5,000 feet, it's cold enough to snow. And there are some models that put some snowflakes, serious snowflakes in snowshoe by sometime next week. We'll have to wait and see on that, but I'm going to talk more about winter next week. Temperature trend, 64, 61, 60. I mean, there's not a single number here that's even remotely close to normal. And that's okay. But for those of you that don't like normal cold or like you prefer it much warmer, this is what we're dealt. I think Saturday's the coldest day. Just go ahead and mentally think we're going to spend most of the day Saturday in the 40s and 50s. Oh, but you said the high 61. Yeah, but that's at the end of the day. So if you're hanging out at an event, and I'm thinking the fall, there's the classic car show in Newport News this weekend, the fall arts and crafts show in Franklin. You've got reasons to keep a jacket close by, even though the sun is out, mostly sunny. We'll call it a 85 to 95% sun-filled weekend. I do expect we might get some rain on Monday, but that's mainly in the afternoon. So we keep moving. It's now 8:12. This is the Eastern Shore Virginia forecast for Saxis, Bloxham at 60, Chincoteague 61, Onancock 59, Exmoor, Cape Charles looking really good tomorrow at 60. If you don't mind a little bit of a cool snap of air in place. 64 in Manio, 63 Nags Head, Kill Devil Hills, and Duck coming in with sunshine at 62, and a little bit milder at 67 for Hatteras and Ocracoke, while Rodanthe and Manio check in tomorrow, expecting a high of 64. Now, the climate predictions that I mentioned, and we haven't had much to see the last couple of weeks or days, but when it's yellow, it's kind of it's a pretty big deal when you're level 2. Level 2, there's so many different ways to describe the risk categories, but level 2, there's the number, and the scattered would be centered in parts of Oklahoma and also Texas. So it's Wichita Falls, and just south of Oklahoma City and Amarillo, where you might have some pretty active storms right over at Abilene. Dallas doesn't look too bad, but if I zoom back out, it includes Santa Fe, includes Durango in green. That's the level 1, which could be isolated. So you have the potential in these areas in green for isolated storms. The yellow would be scattered. Nothing going on the East Coast. We're looking good, but I just highlight this activity because you might have family, and especially in the military, you might have family in Texas, right? I married a Texan, so I understand Texas, big state. A lot of people have family or connections to the Lone Star State. But if you're around Del Rio, Austin and San Angelo, these areas tomorrow have scattered severe storms on the palette, on the menu. Dallas, Fort Worth, possibly Colleyville, some of these areas might have some isolated severe storms. Friday, Houston could be included in this, as well as Oklahoma City for level 1. Severe threat Friday, nothing going on here, but just for context and for, just for context, perspective. We've got the risk on Saturday for Texas A&M, Houston, Galveston, Lake Charles, and Austin, Texas. Alexandria, Louisiana, all the way to Corpus Christi could also have some isolated severe storms on Saturday. So it's going to be kind of parked itself over Texas the next couple of nights and days and nights. Now tonight we do have a mostly clear sky now, but there are indications that we could get a few passing clouds. So I would describe tonight as mostly clear to a few clouds. This is 11 o'clock, and you'll notice these clouds are still hanging out at 4 a.m. But then they do a disappearing act when you wake up. So if they're heading out the bus stop, there might be some residual clouds at 7. Already sunny and frosty out in inland Virginia, inland North Carolina. Midday, it's mostly sunny. Then a few clouds look like they want to drip down and drop down from the northwest, down from the peninsulas. But notice the winds are single digits, baby. Light winds. You'll love tomorrow. You will. If you don't get outside tomorrow, you're like, hey, say, I don't like wind. Well, tomorrow's your day. Now, come Saturday morning, you might think these clouds are going to stick around, but they too disappear before noon. And you got a great afternoon on Saturday. Also winds of the single numbers. That's pretty cool. Now, we started the live stream with this, that rain returns next week. Southern low out of Georgia has the potential to move off the coast, and that could cause more concerns for our friends in Buxton, Rodanthe, and the Outer Banks. Could also mean more wind, heavy rain, and also more tidal flooding. But I think it's a bit too early to sound that alarm entirely, because there's not much agreement right now, right? So we got several moving parts. We got Melissa, storm that's tropical, that could become much stronger in that space because it could be a category 4 in a couple of days, and then the interaction with what's kind of come in from the west, coming in from Texas. You saw all that severe weather in Texas? Connect the dots, baby, because you know and I know, I've said it before, all weather is interconnected, all of it. So you got a storm system that's brewing in Texas. That's the one that's going to try and work its way here next week for us. And it all comes together, but whether or not that low intensifies, we'll have more until I think tomorrow and the next day, and I'll keep you posted. That's kind of what I like to do. Friday morning, we're in the low to mid 40s, south side peninsulas, North Carolina, as it's now tonight's lows on the board. Do you see 30s here? Absolutely. Wakefield, Conway, Frank. These could be conservative. We mentioned that it could be as low as 33. Because that depends on where you're taking the thermometer. Is it measured 5 or 6 feet off the ground, or is it at the pumpkin patch level, at your feet, at your ankles? 39, 5 feet in the ground, 5 feet off the ground could be colder at the surface. So just take note of this for those of you that are concerned about sensitive plants. 42 for Gainesville, 46 for Norfolk, 38 for Matthews. Pretty chilly there. High temperatures tomorrow, 64 south side. 61 peninsulas, North Carolina 66. And did I mention tomorrow? You know where I'm going with this. Tomorrow is the home opener for the Norfolk Admirals. They're taking on the Railers. Come on into the scope. Well, you have to know they got to keep the ice going, so it's going to be colder inside. But hey, some like it cool, but then if you're a hockey fan, you like it cold. You got to keep the ice from getting soft. You got to have ice. But that's going on this weekend. A couple of games at home. Highs tomorrow about 64 Hampton and Portsmouth, 62 Virginia Beach, 68 in Edenton, 60 in Cape Charles. There are my expectations. 65 for Smithfield as they had their Witches Night Out tonight, which is kind of cool. They had like some wickedly cool deals at Pumpkins on Main Street in Smithfield, so I hope they had a good time. 68 in Hertford, 62 in Corolla. Here's your first warning. WTKR News 3 7-day forecast. 61 is the cool day, but that's my Saturday. I know, and it is really cold to start. So we're probably closer to 44 in Norfolk. And so if you're kind of cold tonight in Emporia, Wakefield, you're going to be even colder, I think, tomorrow, because you'll be down to 44 Saturday morning. But the showers develop here. I think 60 right now is reasonable to expect. And to call it wind-driven rain, I think, is also reasonable. The question is, are we going to get the crazy amounts of rain? Because I'm mentioning to you, 1 to 3 is certainly possible. But if you were to buy into some of the modeling I saw today, I saw some crazy amounts, like 5 to 9 inches of rain during that Tuesday night, Wednesday morning time frame. Is it too early to sound that alarm? Yes. But I share it with you because that's what the data suggests. These models are just trying to figure out, like the spaghetti plots, they're just trying to figure out the next day. And until they get a little closer, they don't necessarily have a lot of certainty associated with it. Kind of like Melissa. This storm could go any which way, ultimately it goes out to sea. So that's the forecast in a nutshell. 62 Tuesday, 64 Wednesday, and drying out most likely by Thursday, which, by the way, is Halloween Eve. When I was growing up, it was Mischief Night, the night before Halloween. Growing up in Wilmington, Delaware, that's what they used to do, is toilet paper trees and throw eggs if you didn't give the kids candy. It was a weird thing back in the 70s and 80s, I'll tell you what. But maybe they just don't do that now. It's a little more civilized now. It's trunk or treats. That's what they do either on the night before or Halloween itself. Did I mention we have some cool happy shots? I've gone on too long tonight. Fort Monroe, Bradley Fullwood, beautiful picture. Thank you, Bradley, for sharing these great pictures. We have a WTKR Photographers Facebook group where they voluntarily take great pictures. And Bradley, thank you for taking this beautiful gem in Fort Monroe. Buckrow Beach, William Wood, thank you for this beautiful sun picture as you illustrated so beautifully. And lastly, Lisa from Mount Trashmore capturing some sun on the water there. Really beautiful. So thank you, Lisa, for sharing that with us as well. Just a reminder, there's the 7-day forecast. Don't forget, we're going to be much cooler the next 7 days. No 70s here. We are getting cooler for sure. If you want to sign up for pizza, go to WTKR.com/Marcos. I mentioned there are opportunities to just satisfy your appetite, but the best way to do it is take half off your bill. All you have to do is use the promo code WTKR50. And that's it, and it's a deal of the week, so it's good through Saturday. So if you get hungry tomorrow night or the following night, you have some opportunities there as well. All right, so thank you so much for being here. I will be back on Monday, and I'm excited about the fact that we've got some sun-filled days in the short term, and we'll have more of a forecasting challenge for next week. Keeps things interesting, that is for sure. Remember, it doesn't matter if the weather is sunny or serious. It doesn't matter if it's, it can be serious or windy or rainy. Just know that every day is a gift. Every day is a gift, so make the most of it in your neighborhood. We'll see you here next time. Take care.